listener, and a very warm welcome to Blighty Day Fiance, your 8th, ninth, or 10th favorite reality TV recap podcast. My name is Michelle, and joining me today, as always, is my favorite 60-year-old man disguised as a 40-something-year-old man.
30-something.
30-something-year-old man. Sure, why not? It's Baby J.
Hey, everybody, it's me, Jack. We're here in Los Angeles, where we've been. We're doing a late night recording today. So the energy might feel a little bit different, but we hope everyone can sort of chillax with us. Can I say chillax? Does that still work?
Yeah, or we could go super NPR and do voices like this, where we're talking very excitedly and hurriedly about something that you don't really care about or have never heard of.
Kind of like the most important thing in the world today is Shakina and Sarper's relationship. Kind of like
That's
that?
right. Kind of like that. That is a great place to start. Shall we start the recap?
Oh, you're just raw dogging right into this one,
Yep,
aren't
I'm
you?
not even going to do housekeeping until the end.
I love it. Let's get into Shekinah and Sarper.
Wow, what a tearful, emotional plastic reunion in the plastic airport with the plastic planes.
You're making me envision like the Barbie's Dream House airport.
Yeah, that's what it was. You didn't notice?
The Barbie clothes, the Ken doll with the G.I. Joe hair.
Yeah, that's the thing. I don't think he's a Ken doll at all. I think he's more of a G.I. Joe, but I was.
Okay, what if I had said to you he's an off-brand Ken doll? Would that make more sense?
No, because even off brand Ken dolls look kind of cleaner than that and blonder. And they don't wear fake blue contact lenses. You've seen my fake blue contact lenses. I think mine are much better than his.
Well, yours are attractive, and his make him look like a cyborg or robot of some sort.
Why is the water coming from the eyes, Shekinah?
Well, now you're reminding me of when Jerry Seinfeld cries in one episode, and his answer is his question is, "What is this? What is this salty discharge coming out of my eyes?" That I feel like might be the Sarper reaction, like, "Oh no, circuits will get fried." Now, take me through this because we just watched this, and it was, I don't know if I can call the second episode of the season kind of fluff. Michelle, can you give me a rundown sort of what the opening to the Shekinah storyline is? She's with her friend. What are they talking about? Because they're driving, she's driving to the airport. I mean, that's basically where we open with them this week.
Well,
She's
that's not
heading, okay,
true. She was
correct
packing her
me.
suitcase and whatever. Look, I don't know what she was talking about. She was talking about some letter that her ex boyfriend wrote her that she has in a binder that she's bringing to Sarper's house to give him a taste of his own medicine. Do you think he's going to read that and comprehend it and understand its significance
Well,
without you having to like draw him a diagram? I
let me
don't
ask
think
you a
so.
question. Do you think that I'm not even going to make fun of his does he read in Turkish or anything? Has he ever read 143 pages of English, in your opinion?
No, I don't think he's read 100 and however many pages in Turkish either.
Well, so fair enough. It was 143. Oh my goodness. I just 143. That was the old thing that was supposed to be I love you. That is from beeper days. And that was a beeper message you could send someone. 143, I, one letter, love, four letters, you, three letters, 143. I think that's why this corny ass letter is 143 pages.
Technology is cyclical, as Liz Lemon's beeper salesman boyfriend once said, who was my favorite character in the history of that show.
So she's packing. And do we really see much of her packing, or does she just say she's
No,
packing?
we're not going to worry about that. I've got y'all, for those of you who are new, I have ADHD and the sound check this evening has fried my brain, so we're gonna move really quickly and do things the way that I want because that's how things are right now.
Do you hear any arguments over here, Michelle?
No, I don't, because you know what's best and I know what's best. And so we're not going to stay at the fucking apartment. We're going to go to the airport. We're going to get on the plane. We will have been on the plane and we're touching down and we're doing the tearful reunion where Sarper talks about all the things that he's going to do to Shekinah.
Well, I believe, did he say kind of like, I'm going to hug her, I'm going to touch her, I'm going to fuck her, and then I'm going to hug her?
Yeah. Um, now, this is going to make me sound like a total idiot, I'm sure, but I am going full conspiracy nut on this one. I don't think Sarper enjoys sex at all. I don't think he's the nymphomaniac or sex addict, rather, that he purports himself to be. I don't think he's slept with that many women. I think if he does sleep with a woman, he doesn't feel anything. Um, he might feel minor physical sensations, but there's
Satisfaction.
yeah, sure. I don't think there's anything there. I've never seen a couple with less. Even Michael and Angela have more sexual chemistry than these two.
I didn't
Jack,
even
your thoughts?
I didn't even think about it that way, and it's frightening because that's 100% true. And at first glance, you would look at these two plastic beauties and think, "Oh, I mean, they must fuck at least." But you're right. I mean, the we were talking. You said this guy doesn't fuck, and I said, like, do you mean he's like not good at it, or he doesn't fuck?
No, I mean he does not fuck.
And now, but is that because, and we were talking about, I don't know, now this got combined in a conversation a little bit because I don't remember if it was you, me, or Diana might have, when we were watching this, might have talked about Shekinah's inability to probably orgasm.
I don't know if she has an inability to orgasm. We did talk about that at one point. I wouldn't necessarily want to take it that far. What I would say is that, at least in my limited personal experience, you need to really be vulnerable with another person in order to fully enjoy yourself, or just have no shame, or um there needs to be a minimal level of like self-consciousness and insecurity, and these two are both full of those things. The second factor, and part of my theory, is that these two live in virtual life, right? They live on Instagram, and they're not really going to put their time or effort into things that they can't record and then post for
Well,
the
that's
public. To It's the same reason that I don't think the Silva twins ever have sex either.
well, that's what. Yes, no, that was what we were talking about. And so, let me not call out Shekinah's inability or ability to orgasm, but it was more about, is it filmable and can we use it? Like we saw their crappy cyber sex with her outfit last week. They could record that. It was stupid. It wasn't hot, but that was their little recording.
Right.
So I do think I think that I can't picture her getting sweaty or sticky or mussed up at all.
So when I'd be interested to hear your experience because you were a lot faster than me. Um, but my first guy that I called a boyfriend when I was like in middle school, I would like call his house after school and hang up. Sometimes we'd meet in within groups of people at the movie theater and like look at each other. We barely ever spoke to each other directly. I think he broke up with me because I wanted to hold his hand.
Aw.
Um that's Did you do, like, what was your first girlfriend like? Did you have a starter, that type of a relationship, or did you go straight into
So I had the type of I had a slow start, let's say, but I mean didn't last very long as a slow start, but maybe like a couple of like make out things, and then it was really like straight into the deep end. Then it was
Then you were serial monogamist at
serial
14.
monogamist, and my first like real girlfriend was, I've discussed this on the podcast before, but I was a first true girlfriend. I was 17 and she was 20. I was in high school and she went to NYU, and she opened my eyes to a whole new world of possibilities and delights.
Right, but that's a real girlfriend. I'm talking about
Yes.
like middle school
Yes, was there a
girlfriend.
starter? I mean, yeah, I had a lot of crushes, usually on a girl that was probably sitting off to the side and not like part of the whole rigmarole. And I'd usually, which I still do this now, which is talk. You just got to talk and be open with people. And if you're comfortable in your own skin, then, people may flock to you.
The reason I bring this up, although I appreciate that slice of your personal history, is that this feels like a middle school
Of
relationship to
course.
me. And
Of course.
Shekinah, and to be fair, this is Sarper's first actual relationship, supposedly. And Shekinah talks about having to teach him the basics.
Okay, that's what you meant.
But
Okay,
I
I
think
took it wrong.
the basics to her is like a seventh grade relationship and not really an adult
So
relationship.
this is more like pull the hair of the girl who you really like and then run away and giggle with your friends.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. I, so they go to Sarper's house. Oh, what did you think when he talked about men's being cat people?
Oh, okay. This I had like a very visceral
Yeah,
reaction to
you
this.
did.
I have two small dogs. They're girls and they're named after flowers. I had another girl dog named after a flower before that. I had a German Shepherd growing up. I've always been surrounded by dogs. Um, I look. I know we're talking about different cultures, so maybe in Turkey, maybe Sarper is knows something I don't. I not seen like the stereotypical man's man in America be a cat guy. That leads to a lot of pussy jokes, of course, and we could insert pussy joke for Sarper, but it's not. It's to me, it's more to his character of this dude hates dogs, can't handle dogs, too much responsibility, likes the cat, likes cats. He has
And then he
probably doesn't have to
talks
do
about
that
leaving it
much.
alone for 4 days. What kind of monster are you?
Well, so you can't do that with a dog, but if he leaves the cat can, I guess, survive. I mean, it was a weird take from him. It kind of adds to the whole like, is he a real human being kind of thing. And I don't know if we're ever going to get a real answer as to if Sarper's a real human being. I mean, we have to see the sequel. Because what do you make of his robot tears? Because we talked about the tears, but now were the tears real?
I don't it's difficult when you have a lot of Botox or a lot of filler to cry through it. That's my understanding. I wouldn't be surprised if he had his because spoiler alert everyone, he is not 42. He is north of 45,
Approaching 50.
approaching 50, and that's nothing to be ashamed of, but the lengths that he goes to disguise that fact are, yeah, troubling to say the least, as are his empty bottle collection, as
Well,
is rather.
okay, let's get into that because I know we're moving briskly today. Okay, Shekinah tells her friend the bottles are still there. These, of course, are the bottles that I guess every beautiful instance with a woman that Sarper's ever had. There's a bottle that goes along with that. Fine, whatever. I don't care. We already did this a different season. She comes in. She knows the bottles are going to be there. Did she really think that Sarper was going to surprise her and get rid of all of the bottles? Is that true? Or is that just bullshit for the camera?
No, this is just bullshit. I don't understand. I don't know what this relationship is. I honestly think that when the cameras aren't on them, they shut down like the animatronics at Disneyland. and they just hang there until somebody turns a light on them or a phone on them. I don't think they do anything. They're like the Sims. You just leave it. Do you know what I mean?
I would think that Sarper might read a 143-page letter in Simlish or whatever that Sims language is. Might have a better opportunity.
It would
So,
it would make as much sense to him as someone writing a love letter to Shekinah in boarding school.
and just to wrap up on them, I just want to ask. So Shekinah thinks she's gonna. We don't. I think this was coming up next time with her actually giving him the letter.
Mm-hmm.
Um, we see him throw the letter. I made a joke that he just was like, "I'm not going to read this. It's too long." He throws it, but she's saying like, "I'm going to get him back for all of the like all for the headboard and the bottles from all the women and all of that." Is this like an equal thing? If he reads like a heartfelt, super long love letter from eighth
No, and
grade or
he's
whatever?
not, there's no point teaching him a lesson when he's not going to understand that there's a lesson in the first place.
Well,
It's
right.
it's just, like, stop trying to teach a monkey to talk. I don't mean to call him a monkey. I mean, like, I don't know. I don't know. This
I feel like they've drained you. I feel like watching them drained you.
Yeah, I'm shifting in my seat, which is never
Well, I don't think we're
good.
missing anything. We're gonna get back to them next week. I mean, this is
I think they're probably going to be on every week. I think they're going to be the common thread,
can we the
sadly.
stable couple?
Yeah. I don't know.
Let's move on to I don't know why I'm gonna say favorites, but it's not because I like love them. I think they're doing some interesting television, and that's gonna be James and Tata in Maine.
Yeah. Can't say this was a comfortable watch either. Doesn't mean I didn't do it. I just want to lead off with the observation that I made that I'm really quite proud of, which is that James looks like what you would get if you asked someone to draw one of the Brady brothers from memory. And you would sort of be like,
From the Brady
oh,
Bunch.
yes, thank you for clarifying. Yeah. Oh, what does Bobby look like?
Sort of like Peter. Wait, no.
No.
Oh no, I fucked up. Now it's messy. And
Yeah,
there's James.
exactly. And then there's, yeah, exactly.
So to be fair, so now just to clean that up, James looks like a messy like aberration of like Peter Brady mixed
I
with
think you meant
Bobby.
amalgamation, not
Thank you very much.
aberration.
Well, I did. I actually was thinking of like an aberration, but I did mean amalgamation. So an amalgam of the Brady boys. I think that that's fair. I don't know whose teeth he stole. That might be from
No, he's got
Beverly
Bobby teeth.
Hillbillies. Bobby. Oh,
Yeah, Bobby always had fucked up teeth.
okay. So I see what you're saying. So your assertion here is basically that James, at whatever 30, whatever he is, basically has like little boy teeth at best.
No, he's got, the less said about teeth, the better, because I know that not everyone can afford dental care. And so I don't want to
Of
clown
course.
on
No.
something that he doesn't have a lot of control over, but you got to brush the gnashers.
I'm
James, you
only
got to brush them,
I'm
my
only
friend.
going to say we do get to see James's brother who does not have teeth like
He
James.
doesn't have butter
So,
teeth, no. Um, so he drops Tata off at the airport. She doesn't say goodbye to his family because they don't know that she's leaving, because I guess he's not telling them that
super
until
weird.
he goes. Uh, and
Now, when she's getting out of the car, I know this was a point you wanted to
yes,
talk about
that's what I'm
because
getting to.
I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure. Listen, Michelle, whatever happens, we don't like leave on bad terms, right? Like we speak in like love, right? We speak in love.
We speak in love even when we're angry. We speak in love. And Tata turns around and goes, love, 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 love. Is that what you want to hear?
Well, so that seems like a really solid connection. So she's going to leave. She's leaving. It's getting very confusing. He tells her that he's leaving in a month to join her in Indonesia. When we skip ahead to, and they say goodbye. Did I miss anything with their goodbye? Did they? I mean, I guess they did kiss goodbye and
Are
make
you
it
kidding? They
nice.
were sobbing
That's
in
right.
the airport
Excuse me. I'm
together.
skipping over that because I got confused with him. That's right. No, they do have a very genuine sob at the airport,
I
both of
wish I
them.
could say that I'm above that, but when I was, I guess, like 17, I had a boyfriend who was in college that I used to visit in Western Massachusetts. Make of that what you will. Um, and I would cry at the airport. And I remember some lady walked by me and she was like, Jesus Christ, it's not like he's going off to war.
That's mean. It's fair to cry
I
at
was
the.
really emotional. I really didn't like leaving.
That makes sense. I don't. I wouldn't make fun of someone
And
like
it's
that.
not, and yeah, it's not that far from DC, but it's like it's still, like that's my
It's far when you're a teenager.
man,
Yeah,
you know.
for
And
sure.
that was kind of my world when I was
Well, so let
17.
me ask you, did you, so could you relate? Well, so you related, despite your not being able to relate to Tata per se, you were able to relate to this scene from both sides.
Yeah,
So was
definitely.
I. And I've never had a long distance anything, but I mean, when you say goodbye for even a short time or you say see you soon, that's a time. I mean, look, I cry at commercials. So I might not be the one to ask, but I did look. I liked that showed that there was some actual genuine love and affection towards one another.
Yeah, I wouldn't rush to that conclusion. I think there's genuine emotion there. I
That's a
think
better way.
he's confused romantic love with codependency, but is that not in and of itself kind of romantic? I mean, he's definitely a romantic. We find out that he was married previously through a discussion
Right.
with his brother and his wife, Drew, who we all agreed should have either been named Amber or Miranda.
100%.
Um, but yeah, James had been married previously, had moved to. Now, y'all, the weather in Maine is really,
Frightening.
yeah, it is a lot. And it's a lot to ask somebody who is not a native New Englander to spend winters in New England. And that's probably what happened, And yeah, you'll get every upper respiratory infection in the book. And the weather is harsh. The winters are icy. And even the spring is icy. Sometimes the summer too. So and it's not for everyone. And I've never been to where he's from, but I grew up in Maine spent my summers in Maine. And even then, you could get some wild weather sometimes. So,
I spent summers in Connecticut, and that was wild weather. And the winters are no joke in the Northeast. And if someone is moving here from a warm weather climate, I would say north of Portland, Maine should not be in your top 10.
I would say like north of North
Boston?
Carolina should not be in your top 10. Go to Asheville, North Carolina.
That's where, okay, that's a great place. That's a great place, Asheville, North Carolina.
Yeah, no, that's why I'm saying go there. It's like a nice part of North Carolina where there's enough of an immigrant population that
There's
you're
some
not going to
character.
feel out of place,
Yes.
So that's my recommendation.
I now moving on, we kind of move from that quickly into James and as you're saying, James and his brother. I didn't really ask you this. What did you make of the relationship or what we see to be the relationship between James and his brother, whose
Well,
name I
I
did
thought
not catch?
yeah, I didn't get his name either. He looked like if you asked someone to draw just Bobby Brady from memory.
His facial hair looked a lot like Patrick Swayze and Donnie Darko. Someone Google that. It's accurate.
Yeah, he was very disappointed, and I think that disappointment was very real. And the fact that the family business had to downside the last time James pulled one of these little stunts explains both why he came back.
What I
and why he's ghosting his whole family, which I think is really fucking cruel because you have to, if you are going to have to go through something that radical again, then you want to plan ahead at least by a quarter.
Did you see this just shitty smirk on James's face while he's saying all of this? He's like, while his brother's like, "Hey, man, like last time you fucked off down to Florida for that other girl, and we had to downsize everything." And James is just sitting there, sort of like
That's discomfort.
I know where it's coming from, but he's so avoidant and uncomfortable at the same time and can't be straight and is like and then this is when we find out, nope, not a month that he's going to Indonesia, 4 to 6 weeks, maybe longer, we don't know, he's making money. And I'm starting to really question James's James's interest in this relationship in a real way. I mean, he's telling her what she wants to hear about children or not telling her what she doesn't want to hear, however you want to look at it. He doesn't really want to go to Indonesia. We get the, oh, which we skipped over. We have the little
Unpaid
confrontation.
job at the banana chip
Yes.
factory.
Well, where, okay, cool, I'm going to work for your family. Okay, if you work for my family, you're never getting paid. So that's a bit of a catch 22. Um, and then, the more, and now as I'm talking about all of this, I'm thinking, okay, she didn't really give him a full story. He's given her a quarter of a story. So what do we have here apart from heavy emotions at the airport?
Oh, I don't know, but I'm really enjoying having a couple where I can't see where they're headed. Like some of these stories, I feel like I can sort of go, okay, I've got a feeling of for which way the wind is blowing, but this I have no clue. And all these promises he made to her father that he has no intention of fulfilling. I mean, obviously he wants to provide for her and everything, but he's not, didn't learn the language, not so keen on the grandkid part. I just want to say I think it's a completely rational and reasonable position to change your mind about having children for any reason. You don't need to like cite references for changing your mind about having children. But if you know that your partner does want children, you need to tell them.
You really do. I
You need
mean,
to tell them as soon as you're having those thoughts, feelings, and inclinations, because it is very cruel otherwise.
100%. And uh, regardless of what the relationship is, if he's not being straight with her on that or letting her think what she wants to think, it's gross. And, you can't play with people like that. In a slightly different direction as we wrap them up, and I don't have the name here, but I will put it out next time. Shout out to the Facebook group. There was a comparison to Mary and Brandan. Of
Yeah.
was that Love in Paradise or was that Toe? Well, it
No, that
wasn't
was
Love in
Toe.
Paradise. It
That
was
was
Toe.
Toe last year.
Now,
Gosh.
we talked about this a little bit, and we're not just in terms of like the makeup of the relationship and the personalities. I thought that was a really apt comparison to Mary in terms of the non communication and the different needs and wants that were not expressed in that. This feels somewhat similar.
Yeah, I think there's um I'm no armchair psychiatrist or psychologist, but I think there is something of a personality disorder here that's maybe compounded by whatever's going on with her health wise. But that can fuck you up. Being sick all the time can fuck you up.
Absolutely. I mean, because if you're sick all the time physically, you're not doing great mentally because it's going to take a drain on your body and your mind.
Yeah. And speaking as someone who has chronic fatigue syndrome and was diagnosed, a couple of months ago, looking back, it's really difficult. Do you know, I didn't tell you this, but I was on the phone to my sister earlier this week and I said, "How are you?" And she said, "Well," and she kind of paused for a minute. She goes, I'm middle-aged and I'm working on finding out what's killing me. And I said, "What do you mean?" And she goes, I'm dying. Something's killing me and I just need to figure out exactly what it is and how to handle it. And yeah, that is what middle age feels like. Can confirm, can sympathize and empathize. So, yes.
When I get there to middle age, I'm going to ask some questions, okay?
You do have a baby face. Not so much now because you haven't shaved in like 2 days, but
It's been like a week. It's been like 5 days,
has
but
it?
yeah.
Okay. I haven't
But it
noticed.
is time to shave. And if you want to see if I need to shave, join our Patreon tier
That's
video.
right. Patreon.com/BladyDayFiance or /BladyDay. Either one of those, probably. If you look for us, you'll find it eventually. Intrepid pilgrims, you get for $5 a month, you get all killer, no filler, no ads, all of our programming, plus ad free, plus a weekly bonus episode. The bonus episode this week that is overdue. In fact, you're getting two this week. You're getting The Cutting Edge and something else. We don't know what that is yet. The Cutting Edge being the criminally underrated rom com from 1992. If you are interested in seeing our beautiful faces and watching us poke at each other on camera, then you can join the $10 tier. And if you want to be involved in choosing the bonus episode, then you can join our $15 Prince Louis tier. And we are going to add benefits as and when we are able. Okay. But everybody starts out at the $5 Ramona Singer commemorative tier.
I'm going to throw out right now that you and Diana here in the apartment off camera have been watching season 8 of Real Housewives of New York. So if you're a Patreon person and you want to hear my thoughts and Michelle and Diana talk about season 8 and the beginning of season 9 of Real Housewives of New York, let us know.
We're
Write it
all
into the
about it.
vote.
We are all about it. We love it so much. Anyway, we love you even more, which is why we're going to end the housekeeping now.
Yes.
And we will talk about Save the Best for Last. Now, you all know that I stand hard for Statler. I always have. I always will. I will not apologize for that. I think the way that now we got a few repeats for those of you who watched last
A
season.
lot of repeats of rehashing stuff this
Yes,
week.
rehashing old stuff, but she bravely told us that she also has autism in addition to ADHD, just like yours truly. So I always appreciate somebody speaking about that candidly and authentically. I just really admire her a lot, and I think she's a beautiful person inside and out. Now,
Hey, look, I have been watching her. I found their story very interesting last year. Personally, I had a lot of compassion for Statler. As somebody who is very much an urbanite and might feel very uncomfortable shitting in the woods. So, we saw the plight last year and we saw how they matched up connection wise. So we're getting the sequel this year.
yes, and the sequel is going on the road, which sounds like an unmitigated nightmare. I already have anxiety diarrhea for both of them. I just can't imagine any relationship, whether it be a romantic one, a friendship relationship, business relationship, anything, surviving something like having to share a small camper van. Um, Dempsey goes and talks to her friend Lindsay,
Linzi.
Linz, if you're one of our British listeners.
Yes.
Um, yeah. What did you take from this conversation, Jack? Much? Do you think Lindsay was being a little overeager on the
Advice?
advice / sowing misery?
Yeah, I mean, we know, like, I don't believe that Lindsay's ever met Statler. This seemed like a newer person, I think, that Dempsey has met. Um, Look, I am super down on people who get overly involved in other people's relationships and or start talking shit or being negative about someone they have not met, because you're only hearing something from one side and you're not giving someone a chance. And
It's really funny then that we have a podcast about other people's relationships who we don't know.
well, you know what? I'm just a podcaster talking into a microphone. I'm not actually giving advice to these people. I'm also watching this. Let's be honest here. About 12 to 24 months after it was filmed, so you know, a lot goes down in that time. But I didn't like it actually, and I'm going to take Lindsay off blast because we don't really know her. She just popped up. It made me think more like, is this how Dempsey's speaking about Statler to new people she meets?
Right?
Yeah. And this someone she met in regards to purchasing the van? Is that how they met?
I don't know.
Roughly, let's say it was that.
But
It was some sort of van life counterpart, I think, for Dempsey over there.
I just think when you're talking about someone you love, you don't lead with what you perceive to be their deficits or negatives. Yes, Statler's a highly sensitive person. And the things that she talks about, having a routine, being regimented, being organized, these are survival skills for neurodiverse people.
Right.
Okay. These are things that she needs.
Not
They're not
once.
like quirks. Do you
Well,
know what I
because
mean?
you bristled at the fact that Dempsey said Statler wants all of these things, and you were
Right.
very specific about it's not wants, it's needs. She needs these things to function properly.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. And speaking as someone who I do struggle without some kind of schedule, I really need to go to bed and wake up at the same time. Um, those kinds of things are really important to me. I need to eat at regular intervals, and sometimes I have to be reminded to do those things. And if I, God forbid, if I had to be with someone who, and look, I have in the past, but I'm very grateful to have found people in my life who understand that about me and are supportive and don't speak about those things as a negative or something that they expect me to change, because it isn't something that you can change. You can try to change it and suffer and make yourself miserable. And that's what I'm worried about for Statler, really. I never really warmed to Dempsey. Um, that doesn't mean I'm not invested in their relationship. It doesn't mean that I don't think they should be together or that I'm not into the romance of it all. I'm here for it, but I never really warmed to her because I don't think that it's not that I don't think she's capable of understanding, but I don't think she's interested in understanding. Um,
Does that come down to do you question like the genuine feeling she has for Statler? Because I'm questioning it after this episode, and I can get into my feelings, but I'm curious if you agree with that. Like if you question her intention, or it just seems very cold and odd to me. So that's what I'm trying to piece together.
I think she's probably one of those people, and there are quite a few of them, and some of them might be listening. There are one or two who have left reviews saying as much, but there are people who don't believe that ADHD is real. They think it comes from, I don't know, eating carrots with pesticide on them or something, or unresolved trauma. And who knows, that might be true. It probably fucking isn't, though. And there's, you know,
I don't. I think you're correct.
yeah.
So you think that okay, but so can we mark this and not to tie it up here, but can we say that maybe Dempsey, despite her whatever time period it is at this point in the show of dating Statler, still either doesn't care or doesn't want to understand Statler in any better way than she does at this moment
I
in the
don't think
show?
she cares to I think it's like somebody, and again, I don't know why people enter into relationships, but it's like, look, there are people who believe in vaccines and people who don't. And I can't imagine one of those people in a relationship with another, that like the sort of extremes on that spectrum, like trying to have a relationship, because no matter what you think, the other person looks completely fucking crazy to you, right?
Right, right.
Because if, and again, I'm using this as an example. I'm not talking about what I believe personally or
It's
what
a
beliefs I
prescient
think are
example
valid.
from recent history.
Yes, somebody who believes that vaccines cause autism or change your mRNA or anything like that is going to look at a person who is pro vax and go, that is insane. They cause all these problems. And why would you want to do this to your children? And blah, blah, blah. Someone who doesn't believe in that and thinks it's garbage is going to have a very different outlook and go, well, I don't want to talk to this person, right? There are certain beliefs that are just not compatible. I think when you deny someone's illness, though, or not, it's not an illness, someone's core kind of neurobiology,
Yes.
and that's what you're doing by denying that someone is
Well, and
neurodivergent.
you just made me realize. I was just thinking as you were saying that. Sure, it's more serious things like autism spectrum disorder and that type of thing. But even don't make it so serious. I mean, you have people with low levels of a lot of things. I'm an anxious person. That plays a role in my marriage and my relationship. My wife Diana has some depression, so that plays a role there too. These are all things that in relationships, you have to take the good with the bad, or you're not having a real relationship. And I feel like we're seeing and maybe it's been like this for the entire relationship, but right now we're seeing the early machinations of, I don't really care. And I don't know what feels the most callous to me from Dempsey in this respect is like, if you're in the same town and you're dating someone and you kind of don't give a fuck and you don't really want to get to know them, that's shitty, but it'll run its course and that'll be that. Having someone who's moving from Irving, Texas to remind me, where are they? Because now it's
Somewhere in the north of
they're in the
England.
yeah, but they're
Yeah.
in the north of England. It's a big step, and also, like, I felt upset for Statler packing and seeing how nervous she was, and I could feel her nervous energy, and it feels like all she needs is like some kindness to maybe get over that hump and feel a little bit better. But I just like even the conversation with Dempsey when she speaks to her on the phone, it's just not. There's like nothing coming off of Dempsey that is reassuring, I
No,
guess.
it's just sort of like, oh, I'm sick of this, can't deal with it, you know? And
Exactly.
like if you also have an invisible illness or something that
Mhm.
you can't, that's that's the hardest thing, is the world doesn't validate you. The people who are close to you ought to validate you. And if the people close to you aren't validating you, then I will do it, and Jack will do it, and
Yep.
cousin Dan will do it, and Robin will do it, and Diana will do it. And like we are pro accept everyone.
I like that.
ACCEPT, not accept, not EXCEPT.
I think our loyal fans know what we're talking about.
I think they do too. One more thing I want to say. I really wish whoever did Statler's hair and makeup in the ITMs would go a bazillion times softer on the makeup, because she doesn't need much, and would just embrace her natural curls and
Are you
waves.
saying because I said, it was reading a little kind of throwbacky, the styling
Yeah, and it's not her.
at
That sort
all?
of like 50s bouffant look
They
is not her.
they look like they're one step away from like a rolling pin and an apron, like
Yeah.
And she has beautiful hair. I got curls. I wish they, embrace Statler's curls. Stop taming something that does not need to be
And
tamed.
she's a beautiful woman. We were talking
Absolutely.
about how gorgeous her skin is.
Perfect.
Um, yeah. So we're going to ease on down the road to Sleepy Town because I've got paralegal work that I have to do at like 5 o'clock in the morning.
I have work that
Um,
will not be named that needs to be taken care of in the morning.
okay.
It's private. I do have a private life.
That's mysterious.
You know what it
Interesting.
is. They don't need to know.
Okay.
But we will be back. What are we when will we be back, Michelle? We're going to be
Oh,
back.
don't miss our
Yes.
collab with
Of
DocuSweeties. The episode
course.
is up now. That's for 90 Day UK. It will be up on our feed at some point when their editor gives it to me, but go over to their feed. They are Wah and Chris are beautiful, brilliant women who provide very unique perspectives to these proceedings. They do all the 90-day shows, they do documentaries. They're fucking fantastic and they're so fucking funny. And it's worth getting their Patreon too because they're on video, they're even better.
I will
And we had
just
such a wonderful
yeah.
time with them.
I'll mention on a different podcast when we're not so sleepy, but I do just want to thank Chris and Wah. We had a really awesome time. So welcoming and so much fun, which is something I keep finding in this community, which
Right?
is lovely, you know?
It's great.
And we will have so and that is for episode 9 of UK that we did our collab. And we'll be back with back with the same schedule. We're cranking things out. We've improved our tech around here quickly, so we're hoping everyone's enjoying it. And what is our next recording, Michelle?
Probably going to do the bonus episode,
Yes. Oh, right.
which we
It's
don't,
that time of
which has
week.
yet to be named. Patreonies, get on that, please. We need your suggestions. Otherwise, we're just going to pick something. I don't know if you all heard that.
There was a bang outside, but yes. Anyway, let's wrap it up. Michelle, I am going to say that I'm Jack, and I'm not going to quit the family business if my banana chip job is not all lined up in advance.
My name is Michelle, and I embrace, accept, and validate you and your invisible illness. We love
We love
you.
you.
That's it.
That's it.